should have brought some lotion. This phone is so slow. I can't see who here yet. Hey, Phoenix. What's going on? This phone is so slow. I must have some settings in here wrong. Because this phone just don't want to act right. Why y'all seem so far away? It's that dark, y'all. Should I move over one seat? Because it does look dark. Because the sun is, I don't know, child. Is it super dark? Let me see. No, I don't know if I can move over there because it might get me. Let me move on this side and see if it's better. It's lighter. But I don't know how long I'm going to be able to sit here if the sun starts to bother me, though. Um, yeah, that's the problem with doing videos outside. You never know how your lighting is going to be. If I sit on the other side, I think the sun will bother me from the back. But, you know what? Let's just ignore all that because that's something we can't change. If my lips look dry, it's because they are. And let's try not to concentrate on that. Okay. Um, I want to read a comment on a community post that I had posted, and this is what we're going to talk about because I really think that this is really important, especially for some people who claim, and a lot of people on my channel claim that they are connected to their ancestors and they love their ancestors and they want to um, get in touch with the Orishas and all of that. So, this was the post. I'm going to read it to you guys to make sure that I get it right because I don't want to. Okay, so the post was, are you preparing for Jesus Christ's return or do you even believe that he is coming back? And this was one of the comments that I got on that post. And I'm not going to, read the person's name. Why is the comment not there? I can't read the comment. Wait a minute. Maybe I can. Maybe I can. Hold on. Yeah, I can. Why is it not showing up on here? Where is it? Okay, here it is. Okay, so the question was, are you preparing for Jesus Christ's return, or do you even believe he is coming back? And this is the answer that one person posted. Jesus never existed. Jesus was thrown on us so we wouldn't know anything about our real powerful ancient ancestors, the Orisha. And they made up Jesus stories from our Orisha. Now, even if you believe that to be true, you cannot, I can't stop that from happening. Even if you believe that to be true, you cannot take the belief away from your ancestors. The majority of us grew up with ancestors who were Christian, some form of Christian, Church of God in Christ, Methodist, um, Baptist, non denominational, all of these people that believed in Jesus. Okay? Even our ancestors that believed in hoodoo, practiced hoodoo, did little things that, I look at now as being some form of hoodoo or something. Even the ones that had that belief still believed in Jesus. It was Jesus that got them through. It was the gospel songs, the faith in Jesus that got a lot of our ancestors through the turbulent times that they lived through. Who do you think this whole Jesus culture may have been forced on them, but once it was forced on them, they embraced it and made something very special out of it. Like all of these churches were birthed out of our ancestors having Christianity forced upon us. What is now the church? The gospel, the music, the shouting, all of that comes from their love of Jesus. And we can't strip that from our ancestors. Like, you cannot honor your ancestors and hate Jesus. It's not possible. And if you really understand the Orisha and really understand different traditional African religions, you will understand that there is no component in hatred of other religions, not only Christianity. There's no component in there that's going to tell you to hate Jesus. So that hatred that you have for Jesus is your own. That has nothing to do with voodoo, hoodoo. None of these traditions tell you to hate Jesus. And if you have that type of disconnect to Christianity, you will never be able to practice. The Orishas will never embrace you if you hate Jesus. See, this is the concept that a lot of people have. You have to hate one religion in order to love the other, instead of bringing these cultures together, taking from each one love and things that you embrace, taking those things and blending them together instead of, oh, I hate Jesus, he did this, they did this to my ancestors. No, your ancestors loved Jesus. Your ancestors worshiped Jesus. Your ancestors prayed. And there's no way that you can have an ancestor altar and be sitting up here telling your ancestors that you hate Jesus. That is a huge disconnect. You will never have a connection to your ancestors hating the person that they worshiped. You can't do it. There's no way that that can happen. The Orisha will not even connect with you because you have a disconnect with your ancestors. You are disconnected. You are disjointed from your ancestors. If you are constantly telling your ancestors that you hate Jesus and that they should hate Jesus, they're going to have a problem with you. There's no connection there. And if there's no connection between you and your ancestors, there's no connection between you and the Orisha. Because in all of these traditional African religions, practices, the point of contact is your ancestors. Before you can do anything with anybody, you have to have a relationship with your ancestors. That line, the people that brought you here, your blood ancestors, you have to have a relationship with them. And if you don't have a relationship with them, there's no connection to the Orishas. You can't just jump to the Orishas. They're going to turn your back to your ancestors. And if you don't have a relationship with them, you're doomed. And if you hate the one person that brought a level of comfort to your ancestors, someone that your ancestors could openly praise, like they didn't have to worry about praising Jesus. They had to worry about burning a candle for Elegua. They had to worry that something could happen to them if they outwardly showed that they knew anything about hoodoo or voodoo, or if this was what they had to do in secret. But Jesus, on the other hand, was someone that they could praise outwardly. They could go to church and talk about Jesus. They could, have this outward showing that they love Jesus. They could worship him outwardly, where they had to sneak and hide and do other things. And you don't think that your ancestors who were older didn't die really having the faith that one day they were going to go to heaven and that they were going to, really reap the benefits because they suffered so much here on earth. If you don't believe that, then there's something wrong with you. This is why I'm very particular about who I allow in my inner circle, who I mentor. I look at I look at all of the comments on my channel, all of them, because I have time to do that. That's why I'm very particular about who I talk to, who I really drop knowledge with, because some of you people are so angry. You spiritual people are so angry that it's hard to reach you. And I don't want anyone on my team, I don't want anyone in my inner circle that has a hatred for a God that we grew up loving. My foundation is Christianity. My core foundation is Christianity, and it will always be. I will never, ever turn my back on my foundation. And the Orisha don't want you to. That's what you don't, a lot of you don't understand. You so pro-black that you don't even understand that the Orisha don't want you to turn your back on your foundation. If Christianity is your foundation, that's your foundation. You continue to build. You build on a foundation. You don't tear your foundation down. That's your building block. You build on your foundation. So what would I look like going in, turning my back on something that was such a strong foundation for me, which is Christianity? Now I do other things. I love to dip and dabble in a lot of different traditions, but Christianity will always be my foundation. And I will have a hard time mentoring someone, or being really serious, talking to someone who really just comes out and say, basically, I don't love Jesus. Jesus is blah 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 blah. Me and you won't jive, because you hate something that I still love. That's like you telling me, oh, I don't like your husband, he's ugly. Okay, well then me and you can't talk. We can't talk. I still love Jesus. I still love a good gospel song. There are still things that move my spirit. But I also love crystals. I also love tarot cards. I also love Elegua, Oshun, Yemiya, Obatala, Ogun. I love them also, because they are not gods. They are deities, and it is a difference. And if you don't, a lot of you don't even understand the hierarchy of religion. You don't understand that. And holding on to, hatred for, oh, well, Jesus this, and he ain't real, and this, that, and they took this from this. Stories have been taken from all religions. Religion is basically one big story that they break a little piece off of here. Okay, this your part, this your part, this your part, and people take it and make what they want out of it. But I can't, I would not be a real spiritual teacher if I didn't tell you that you can't hate Jesus and honor the Orisha. Because even your godmother, when you really get into a house and you get a godmother, they're gonna ask you, what religion were your ancestors? What did your ancestors do? Did your mother and father go to church? Were they Christian? Were they Catholic? Because you have to honor that on your ancestor table. You have to honor that. You have to honor what they were. And if you can't do that, you don't have a relationship with the Orisha. That's why I look at a lot of people online who claim to be teachers of the Yoruba tradition. Eventually, they will basically say who they are. If they don't understand the connection to the ancestors, if they're not telling you that's the first thing you need to start with, that's a red flag for me. It's a red flag for me. And it's a lot of people out here claiming to be whatever, claiming to be spiritual, claiming to be witches, claiming to be healers. And you hate different religions? How? How are you a healer and you hate Jesus? who is supposed to be the Son of God, but you believe in God. You believe in God. And if you can believe that story, you then believe the rest of it. So I just wanted, you guys to kind of think about what you're saying sometimes. Do some research. If you don't believe me, look at that Voodoo Hoodoo handbook, the book that I always show you guys. All that is in there. It's all in there. They even use scriptures in hoodoo. A lot of scriptures are used. The 23rd Psalms, a lot of scriptures are used in hoodoo. So what, you forget that that's from the Bible? I'm gonna go back over here, y'all. This sun is starting to bother me. You forget that that's from the Bible? I just want you guys to think about. Is that Gizmo? No. Think about what you're saying sometimes. And I know a lot of people, you want to take that. I'm so black, I'm so black that I don't even. I'm I'm so black I don't even like Jesus. But your ancestors did. They loved him. And you can't take that from them. It's impossible. Like, your ancestors would just ignore you. Like, they're not going to come to you, they're not going to help you. They're not, because they like, oh, she on some bullshit. I'm not talking to her right now. So you're saying we have to believe Jesus was God in order to access Oldamari, a totally different pantheon, or just be respectful to our ancestors' belief? I'm saying you have to be respectful to your ancestors' beliefs. Now, if your ancestors weren't Christians, then this don't apply to you. This don't apply. Some people's ancestors weren't Christian. But if your ancestors were Christian, you have to be respectful of their beliefs. My ancestors were Christians. Christian is my foundation. But let me say this too. There is only one God. One. Now you can call that God by whatever name you choose. Of course, by region, the name of God has changed because of language and dialect and all of that, culture. But there's one God, one creator, who is called by many names. So if you choose the Yoruba name for God, that's fine. But there is only one. One. One God. That's where this whole separation comes in. One God, called by many names. The names of the people in that area. So, of course, the Yoruba are going to call God by the name, that language that they speak. God for us is God the Father, Jesus Christ the Son, and the Holy Ghost in Christianity. The Muslims call God Allah, but there is one God. And it has been religion is what separates us as a people more than our color. More than our color. Religion separates us. But if you are truly a practitioner of any of the African traditions and your ancestors were Christian, you have to have a certain level of respect for Christianity, or your relationship with your ancestors. Hey, Naya, your relationship with your ancestors will be disconnected. There will be a disconnect there, because and ask them to help you or protect you or petition for you, and you're telling them that the person that they're going to petition for you, you don't even like. Like, I don't like Jesus. Then they gonna turn around and say, well, that's who I was gonna go ask to help you. So what am I supposed to do? Because a lot of our ancestors did not know anything about the Orisha. Like, my mother did not have a clue who the Orisha were. When my mother passed away, she was 96 years old. I was initiated into this tradition before she passed away. Now, I didn't tell her, you know, everything that happened in my initiation, but I did ask her, like, do you know who Oshun is? And my mother was like, who? Have you ever, and I asked her, has she ever heard of the Orishas? And she was like, no. But I asked her, like, do you know what voodoo is? And she was like, yeah, I know what voodoo is. And I know that because my mother was born in Louisiana, she had an idea. Let me try to put this camera in the shade because I don't want it to overheat. Hold on, y'all. She she had an idea of, she knew like the Six Sisters, and that people did things in New Orleans. She had seen things, and know that people went out in the woods and did certain things and stuff, but she had no clue what it was basically called, or what people were really doing, because she wasn't interested in that, and she was a Christian, and she felt like what they were doing to her was wrong, because it didn't line up with Christianity. And I believe that to be true for a lot of our older ancestors. They were into Christianity, and that was it. They didn't do anything else. They didn't, because they felt that it was wrong. And for a very long time, because I grew up in the Christian church, I felt that it was wrong also. So we cannot expect our ancestors to be to change just because they transitioned. They are the same people they were when they left here. Just like when my mother was preparing for her death, like, she knew she was sick. She had, written out her program for her obituary. She did all of that beforehand. Every scripture that she wanted read at her funeral, the people that she wanted to sing, the songs, her favorite Christian songs, and everything that she wanted to be sang at her funeral, she put all those things out there. And who would I be to show up to my mother's funeral with all of my friends who have been initiated into Lukumi, and we change her whole funeral and say, well, we don't want Jesus to, because no, that's not the one. No, no. I didn't even wear my elekes to my mother's funeral. I didn't even wear white to my mother's funeral. I went to her funeral like she would have wanted. I didn't even protect myself at the cemetery like I should have, because my mother was a Christian and I honored her last wishes. And if you can't do that for your ancestors, you're going to have a problem. You're going to have a problem. Now, if your ancestors didn't care about nothing, you know what I mean? Your ancestors were atheists, or let's use that. Your ancestors, okay, let's not go as far as to say atheists, but your ancestors really didn't care about any type of spirituality. Like they weren't really into, like they didn't care. You know how some people live their life and, don't attach themselves to any one particular religion? Then it's fine for you. That honoring of, Jesus and the saints and all of that for your ancestors won't matter. But I'm basically speaking to black people, because the majority of black people, especially black people who were raised in the South, whose ancestors were raised in the South, my ancestors are from Louisiana, Texas, and Arkansas. They were Christian. The majority of them were Christian. And the Orisha are going to send you back to your ancestors first. First your ancestors, first God, then your ancestors, then the Orisha. That is how you honor. Kimberly, so you're saying if our ancestors love Jesus, we can't connect with them? No, you way off. If your ancestors love Jesus, you cannot disrespect Jesus. You missed the first part of the video. If your ancestors love Jesus, you cannot disrespect Jesus. You cannot step over Jesus, because what I'm saying is, you have to go back and look at the comment that someone posted on the community tab, basically saying that, you know, there's no Jesus. Jesus was made up. And I'm saying, if your ancestors believed in Jesus, you cannot go to them with disrespect for Jesus, even in an African tradition, because this tradition does not disrespect Jesus. Because Christianity is more than likely the foundation for the majority of your ancestors. Unless you have ancestors who were not Christian. But the majority of us do. Our grandparents, our parents, somebody was a Christian. And everybody in all of my ancestors that I know, like my mom, my grandmother, my grandfather, all of them were Christian. All of them. Let me read some of these um, other comments. Oh, hey, Troy. I think people are traumatized and don't know how to be balanced. I think so too. I think so too. You know, they don't know how to take these traditions and incorporate them into each other because a lot of people feel like, religion is black and white, and it's not. There are a lot of gray areas in religion, and there are a lot of situations in religion where they can blend together, but it's the people that won't allow them to blend together. And this is one situation where you're going to have to learn how to blend to get along with your ancestors, to appease your ancestors. You don't want your ancestors to be upset. So Phoenix said, I don't hate Jesus, I hate the perversions of the message. Yeah, I don't know which message. Most traditions do teach us how to love, but we're so separated as people, we have a hard time doing that. Phoenix said, but a lot of Christians say they hate non Christians too and say that God hates us. Well, who cares what other people say? Because this has nothing to do with what the world is throwing out. This has to do with you having a relationship with your ancestors and making sure that they are happy. I don't care what other people say because my relationship with God is between me and God. And I think that too is what a lot of people have to get over. You have to get over what you have heard ministers say or how you think people see you or view you. I don't care what other people say. I don't care what Christians say. I don't care about any of that. All I care about is my relationship between myself, God, my Orisha, and my ancestors. Because people are going to say what they're going to say. People say bad things about me. I don't care about them people. So I'm going to stop my relationship with God or have a bad relationship with God behind some stuff that people have said or people have done. No, I'm not going to do that. Yeah, Christians say bad things, Muslims say bad things, Catholics say bad things, but we got to get over that and keep going. Find the part that makes you feel good and throw the rest of it away. There are a lot of inconsistencies in the Bible. There are things in there that I don't agree with, but you have to look at the fact that the time period that the Bible was written in, women were not did not have the freedoms back then that we have now. You overlook certain things. You take the good, you digest that and leave the bad. That's like eating a good steak. I don't like fat. Some people love that little fat part around the steak. I cut that off. I don't eat that. But I'm not going to throw the whole steak away because it has a little piece of fat on it that I don't like. I'm going to eat the part I enjoy and I'm going to get rid of the rest. And that's, I think, a concept that a lot of us need to understand. Yeah, the fat is nasty, but but some people love that. Like my mama used to love that little fat part around the pork chop. She would make sure that she fried. I don't know how she did that. I don't know how she fried that part a little bit harder than the rest of the pork chop. I don't know if she like would hold the pork chop up and dip that little fat part because she loved that part. I hated it. She would always cut that off of mine because I didn't even want it on my plate. But I still like the pork chop. And that's what I do with the Bible. The scriptures that I enjoy those. The ones that I don't, I don't. I do that with Christians. You have to understand that a lot of Christians, people teach Christianity different. You deal with what you can and you ignore the rest. Or don't practice this religion. Don't practice this because there are Bible scriptures. A lot of people use Bible scriptures in hoodoo. Why are you doing something that has a connection to Christianity if you don't like Christians? Is what I want to know too. I'm trying to understand that this is a black religion that has a connection to Christianity. So why are you doing it if you don't like Christians? Yeah, there are different Muslims that don't even like other Muslims. So this goes on in all religions. It's not just Christianity. R.J. Supreme says, Amo Oshun, my great grandmother was a daughter of Yemiya, and let me tell you, when she prayed us, we witnessed a miracle. Perhaps Jesus is an interpretation of our culture. When I pray like I have always prayed. I can't get out of the way I'm used to praying. So when I pray, of course, I'm going to pray to Jesus. You don't pray to the Orisha anyway. You honor the Orisha. The Orishas are not God. And I think some people are getting that confused. God is still God. The Orishas are deities. They are not God. You don't pray to the Orisha. The Orisha still have to answer to God. The Orisha help you. They are here to assist, but they still answer to the head. Everybody got a supervisor, even the Orisha. They're not God. You still have to pray to God. And when I pray to God, I still go through Jesus. I'm never going to stop doing that. I don't care how many alekes I collect. I don't care how many crystals I own. I'm still going to go to the Son to get to the Father. Now, everybody has their own journey. If that ain't your thing, do you. But I'm telling you, if this tradition is what you're trying to get into, you're going to have to heal your relationship with Jesus. That hatred that you have for the church, you're going to have to get rid of that. You're definitely going to have to get rid of that. 'Cause for one, it's not helping you. It's not helping you. Holding on to hatred and what they saying about us and what they did, them Christians always doing this, them Christians are, that's not helping you. That's not helping you one bit. You're holding on to hatred. You're holding on to emotions that don't serve you not one bit of purpose. That don't serve you. Well, I pray to Orishas because they are my God, along with my ancestors and other spirits I connect with. I think that we are all God. I accept everyone in their beliefs. Orishas are not gods. They're not. They are not God. So you're praying backwards. The Orishas are not God. They are deities. Deities are below God. You honor your Orisha as you honor your ancestors and you pray to God. So you are backwards. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you, oh, okay, yeah, you're right. No, you're wrong. And that's the type of person that I am. I'm gonna tell you when you're wrong, and if you can't accept that, then this is another problem that you're going to have. If you cannot accept direction from an elder, you won't make it in this religion, because this is one tradition where you will be given direction from your elders. Your elders are your teachers, your elders in this religion, your madrina, your iya, your spiritual mother is your teacher. And if you cannot take direction from them, you won't be in the house. You can't be. If you can't sit under someone and take direction, this is not the tradition for you. This is not. Okay. Okay. Well, then that's, do your thing. Do your thing. Do your thing, sweetheart. Okay. We gonna move on because I don't argue with people. Naya, my third eye opened after I had a dream. Try. Jesus wiped the mud of off of eyes like in the Bible. That's why I really believe in him. He's real. He unblocked my third eye. I love him. Okay. So intuitively in sync. That's why I classify myself. That's why I don't classify myself under religion. I'm spiritual 100%. I allow my ancestors that originated before Christianity to flow through me. So you allow the ancestors that you have absolutely no context with or no contact with to flow through you. Ancestors that didn't even know you, who you have no clue You don't even have a clue who those people were, what they did. Those ancestors could have been murderers for all you know. You connect with people that you don't know. I connect with my ancestors that have passed away that I know. I know my mother, my grandmother, my grandfather, my father. I know these people. I know how they were. I know what they were like. I know that they loved me. I connect with ancestors that I know will have my back because I know that they loved me. I don't even have a desire to connect with ancestors that I don't even know. That I can't even call their names because I don't know their names. So when you call on your ancestors, you can't even call their names because you don't even know them. I call my ancestors by name. Okay, so I'm gonna go because you know there are a lot of confused people. How are ancestors physical when your ancestors are people in your bloodline that are deceased? Those are your ancestors. Yemaya is not your ancestor. That's not your ancestor. Be blessed, sweetheart. Who? Jesus is the form of a Korean woman in her church. Who said that, Phoenix? I can't even see. I posted a post one day that said, "If you know me, what do I hate?" She said Christians, and I was like, "Why would you say that?" She claimed she was playing. We've been friends for years. Oh, one of your friends said that? Oh, one of your friends said that you hate Christians? One of your friends thought that you hate Christians? Oops. Yeah, I don't hate anybody. I don't, there are some there are, things that Christians may have said. There are reasons why I don't attend the church anymore, but I don't hate Christians. I don't hate Christianity because it's not the religion. It's not the Bible. It's the way it's been interpreted, and it's what people say and do that cause us to be upset. But that's people. That doesn't have anything to do with the actual religion itself. That's the interpretation. That's the way people have interpreted scripture. And you have to get over that and move on because you're always going to find people that you don't like or people that have a different interpretation or a different mindset or a different way of doing things that you do. But that doesn't mean that you have to hate that person because they do and say things that you don't get along with. There are some things in Christianity that a lot of people don't like, but that doesn't mean that you hate the entire religion, or you hate the entire concept, or you know, I hate God or I hate Jesus. I mean, you can do what you want to do, but I'm just saying, in this, and I'm speaking for this tradition only, but it's so many things that fall under this umbrella, like Ifa, voodoo, hoodoo. All of all of these African traditions have a ancestor component to it. This is what I'm speaking about. I'm not, if you out here doing your own thing, do you. I'm not talking to you. Do what you do. I'm not even, we can get on that later. I'm talking about a specific thing. And if you don't subscribe to that, then this doesn't have anything whatsoever to do with you. This don't have nothing to do with you because you doing your own thing. Okay, intuitively in sync. I think you've made your point. You've made your point. We on two different subjects. We are on two totally different. You don't have to keep making your point. You've made your point. I don't agree with you. You don't agree with me. So let's drop it. You made your point. I understand what you're saying. But you're not going, just like I'm not going to convince you, you're not going to convince me either. Because we're talking about two totally different things. You over here and I'm over here. There's a whole lot of space in between us. And I'm not going to change who I am to fit you. You're not going to change who you are to fit me. So you've made your point. Hey, Perfectionist Nails. So Phoenix said, and I'm like, if your religion is so powerful, why are you so miserable all the time? Since we're comparing, I don't believe I was born to suffer. I mean, we're all good. There's going to be times in everybody's religion that people are, no one is happy all the time, are they? Nobody's happy all the time. That's just, we're human. Some people have, more upbeat personalities where they're happy more than, I mean, some people say that I always look like I'm mad, and that's just my face. I'm not mad. This is just how I look. And I'm only playful with people that I'm comfortable with. Like if you knew me personally, like if you knew me, you would be like, God, she goofy. But only certain people see that. Everybody doesn't, get an opportunity to see that. And you may say, well, gosh, she always mad. No, I'm not mad. This is just my personality. My personality is with people that, I don't really know. You see one side of me. But my family, they see, my family don't see Omo Oshun. My family don't see her. My family sees Lashana or Granny or Babe. Totally different person. We all show different sides of us. You know, and people may say, well, if she and the Orishas and she this and she that, why she don't have a big house and all of this kind of stuff? Because life is real. Life is real. And who's to say, the Orishas are not there working things out, but they work things out in their time. We don't just snap our fingers and things happen. Like that, it just doesn't work that way. No matter how people try to tell you, yeah, girl, I can snap my fingers and make you rich today. I look at people like that with a side eye because life is real. Certain things are real. Mortgages are real. Home loans are real. Money is real. And we have to go through those things. We have to. And if you don't think that you have to, I'm going to look at you sideways. I'm definitely going to look at you sideways. Intuitively in sync, I still enjoy your commentary and like that you stand on your beliefs. I'm definitely going to do that. Definitely. Because, for one, I'm not a flighty person. I'm 57 years old. And I have a very strong spiritual background. I didn't just wake up and decide, oh, I'm going to. No, this has been going on. I have been practicing some form of traditional African religion for over 20 years. I've been a Christian all my life, basically. So I have a very um, extensive spiritual background. So yeah, I'm definitely going to uh, stand on that. I spent 2 years learning about other religions. I'm still studying Ifa and Yoruba. I learned so much from your channel and I'm grateful. Thank you, Naya. And keep learning. Keep learning. Keep reading, keep studying, keep learning. Yeah, it's definitely not about living in a big house. It's none of that. 'Cause in the end, you can't take none of that with you. When you go, you can't take nothing with you. It's about enjoying where you are in the moment and um, where I am right now is so beautiful. It's so peaceful. Um, and I'm enjoying it. I've always said that I wanted to live near the water. Like that has always been a dream of mine is to live near the water, live close to the water, live close enough so that, I could if I want to, I could sit by the water every day. And that dream has come true for me. I can look out of my window and that is the bay right there. And that is basically what, 2 blocks, three blocks from my house. Every day, I can come out here and sit and listen to the birds chirp and watch the water. And if I want to, I can hop in my car and drive around the corner and get out and sit there and listen. So it's about enjoying where you are in the moment. Of course, we want our own house, we want our own space. Um, but I have to enjoy where I'm at now. You know, this is a beautiful area. I am loved, I am protected. I have a roof over my head. I have people that love me and take care of me. And that's the most important thing. That is the most important thing. The rest of the things come in time. And if they don't come, they don't. You know? The other day I asked God for the 2021 or 2022 Lincoln Navigator. And if he give it to me, I'm going to be happy. And if he don't, I'm going to enjoy the one that we have. Because that's the type of person that I am. Well, I think a lot of people with a lot of money that have issues, they don't enjoy it. They don't enjoy it. You know, they just don't enjoy it. That's my thing, Naya. As long as you are connected to the source, you have a connection to whoever you consider God. And let me straighten this up too before I leave. I don't care who you call God. It's not my business. I don't care who you worship. I don't care what name you call them. I don't care about any of that. As long as you call him or her, as long as you have a connection and know that there is someone bigger than yourself, that when things get difficult for you, there's somebody that you can call on, somebody that you can pray to. At least have that, you know, because people who feel like there is no God are the people who are more likely to be depressed, to be hopeless, to be helpless, because they don't feel like there's anybody that they can connect to. They don't have a source. They're unconnected to source. Even though source is connected to all of us, there's a disconnect there. They've lost that connection. You know, it's like you have Wi-Fi, but there's a storm. Now you have your modem and everything is connected, but there's a storm brewing in your area and it's knocked your power out. So your Wi-Fi is not working, but the Wi-Fi is there. The modem is there, but there's no connection. And that's where a lot of people are. These people with, you know, mental conditions and depression and everything. There's a storm brewing. The modem is there. The modem is there, but there's a storm. So there's no connection. So you got to make sure that you stay connected. You know, you got to get those storms out the way. You got to, you know, be cleansing yourself spiritually, making sure when you go to bed at night, you're getting all that stuff off of your mind before you go to sleep. Because, see, sometimes when we sleep, that's when spirit deposits things into our consciousness. But if we're so bogged up, stormed up in our minds when we go to sleep because we haven't released, spirit is not able to reach us and drop those things into our consciousness while we're resting. That's the best time for spirit to come to us and tell us, hey, blah, 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 blah. And if you so caught up in what happened to you that day, you dreaming about your coworkers and your boyfriend and your kids and all of these crazy dreams and stuff, spirit can't get through to you. Those messages won't get through to you. I'm gonna go, y'all, because this sun is probably gonna make my phone too hot. Hey, hey, KK. We're gonna talk about that tomorrow. We're gonna talk about cleansing tomorrow. How to get some of these things off of us before we go to sleep. So when we go to sleep at night, we'll be able to receive the messages from spirit that we need to receive. Because it's time to start doing that anyway. Because we don't want to take 2021 into 2022. We want to leave all that shit here. We don't want to take none of that with us. So I will see you guys tomorrow. I can't even see you guys because the sun is so bright. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. I love you guys. I appreciate your conversation. I hope all minds are clear. If they are not clear and I said something that you want clarity on, feel free to reach out to my email. I'm going to put it in the description box and we can have a separate conversation about that. So I'll talk to you guys later. I love you. Bye.